Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's June 22nd, 2019. I'm out back. It's a nice, sunny, beautiful day. The ground is starting to dry up a little bit. As I've mentioned in previous videos, we've had very cold, wet, windy fall, winter, and spring last couple of years, and this year's no exception. And then spring went out the other day with one heck of a bang. We got about 4 inches of rainfall in just less than 3 hours of time. And that exceeded some of our design and maintenance systems that we've had here on the system. And what I'll do is I'll throw on my helmet cam and point out some of those things. But the area behind me here was completely underwater. So this is pond 4 back here. And there's rumble wall blocks going from the canal system by the bridge here going out to there. One of the smaller bridges is under the larger bridge there. So this whole area where I'm standing right now, there was probably 4 inches to 5 inches of water where I'm standing now. And so we exceeded the volume capacity of the spillways, the drainage pipes, and some of the swale systems, so mainly the spillways and drainage pipes. Those were the main things that we exceeded. And as a result, we lost quite a bit of the gravel from our driveway. And here, for example, if you look back here, the water was right up to the top of the blocks here and going over the walls and into the second food forest. The good news is, despite many people locally, my wife at work yesterday, many of her clients were telling her that they lost their gardens and knew that we're really big gardeners and said, "Did you lose your gardens?" And fortunately, because of our permanent raised beds and being so as high as they are, the water just flowed right like rivers going right down each one of the walking paths. So that worked out extremely well. So I don't think we lost anything any of our garden vegetables or any of our fruit and nut trees as a result of these extensive flooding that we just experienced. So that's really good news. We lost the driveway. I immediately went ahead and knocked down the crown to fill in the 8-inch voids where the rivers had basically, the flood waters have come down and wiped out the gravel. And yesterday I started doing more work with Bumblebee, the mini excavator, and the tractor to recontour the areas. I'm going to have to increase the diameter of the drainage pipes that take the overflow from the underground swale systems that go into the next pond systems. So there's a few things like that I'm going to have to do. Sorry about the plane. I've tried recording this a few times. Either it's planes or motorcycles. So what I'll do, what I did during some of the rain event was I went ahead and put on my helmet cam, and I do have a little microphone for that too. And if that turned out, I'll show you some of the flooding that there was. And I'll throw on my helmet cam today and try and narrate a few things in different locations on the property. So you've got an idea of some of the things that we experienced, and then you'll be able to see some of the actual events during the flooding event. I was able to record some of the video at the midpoint. So in other words, it wasn't over this block wall yet, but it was several inches deep all the way around. On the concrete patio back there, 3.5 feet above the water level, we had 4 to 6 inches of water on top of that. So we had about a 4 foot almost a 4 foot increase in water going across here. Fortunately, with the fruit and nut trees being built up on mounds, that worked extremely well. So we didn't lose anything back there as well. So we'll see how this video turns out. I'm just trying to throw together a few things here so I can share with you some of the experiences, what did work and what was challenging, what we have to go ahead and rectify as well. So we'll put on the helmet cam and show you a few things. Okay, hopefully this will show up on camera. The road is up here going across this way here. There's a swale system that goes right on the other side of these trees here. There's actually 3 rows of trees here, And those swales I haven't cleaned out in, I think, 3 years now. And as a result, the sod has built up, the root structure of the grasses and the materials growing up in the center of the swales, even the spillways, had increased approximately 6 inches deep. And as a result, the 6 inches increased depth when it went through this spillway here going into the next swale system not only absorbed tremendous volumes of water and was saturated, but it delayed the egress of the water going through into this swale system here. And as a result, the soil I haven't harvested from this swale system. I'll be doing that later on this year. But there's 6 to 8 inches of soil that's built up over the last 3 years in this soil collection system. And as a result, only a small amount of water moved its way back out into the driveway there and really didn't do any erosive damage at this high point in the property. These are the raspberry beds that I'm going to be taking out here. There's the 6 loads of manure that I was able to bring in so far from Purpose Farm. I still have between 20 and 30 loads that I still have to bring, so that pile will be all the way down to here by the time I get to it. Now the soil had been building up in this area here, and one of the things I'm trying to do is create much more gradual tapered sides to each one of the swale systems except for where the driveways are. So I did do this before the rain event actually got here, and that allowed the water just to shoot right down here right now. Now the grounds are still pretty darn saturated. This is another area that I'm transforming as well. Now there's all the hazelnuts and all the fruit and nut trees up over here, and then we have some more fruit trees right here. And I decided to take out some of the bushes that I had in here, and I'm going to be making this a much more gradual tapered slope instead of it being so steep as it was. So I have more work to do. I have 2 more passings with the excavator to get this slope nice and gradual, and then I'll be transplanting all of these trees up here. They're all fruit trees. Right here is one of the areas. So the swale system, the base of the swale is level with the base of the side of the driveway up there, and we'll take a look up in that area in a couple of minutes. But as the water comes down, I did deepen this area here, and as the water comes up, and that's so that 4-inch pipe there, which drains right across this small driveway area here into Pond 2, so that water can, once it reaches this level, as it comes down from this swale discharge system and from along the driveway here and all this property here as it goes into here, well, that needs to be at least a 12-inch pipe. This is grossly inadequate. So the water here got all the way up to about where my feet are, right up here, and it was just pouring out into the driveway. And of course the water was shooting out of this 4-inch pipe and coming down from the second food forest from up there, going down in this swale system, and I'll show you that drainage system here. So I have a couple of swale systems that try to go around where we do the composting and work its way right down here going into Pond 2. Pond 1's quite a ways up that way. So now we're over here. Many of the fruit and nut trees in this area and the berry bushes, service berries here. And right down in here where that little puddle is there's another 4-inch line. So this takes the water that comes down along this slope here, works its way down into this swale, and that water goes directly down into the canal system that goes around the perimeter of, it's a soil collection canal system that creates a moat around the house and all. Hoping the camera angle is okay here. It's going to be a nice sunny weekend, and therefore the local airport, all the pilots are going to be getting out and getting their hours in this weekend. So, how to do this. So here's that swale system. Right over here, there's the service berries here, all the fruit and nut trees right in this area here. And yesterday I started sculpting this area out to make it a little bit neater. The day before, during the rainstorm, I had to take out the sod that had built up like this on that side. What had happened was, as the water would exceed the capacity of these systems, the water would work its way out, hit some of the sod area here, and then there'd be two basic tire track areas that people would be driving up and down all the time. And as that water came into this area, there was resistance from the sod and the soil that was deep sod and soil here, where the water would, once it flew over the surface of it, it would find the path where there was no grass growing because of the tire tracks coming, and it dug out about an 8-inch deep gravel path all the way down here. Now, there was a crown to this driveway, but immediately after digging out these areas here where the sod was off to the side, creating a canal system, creating a conducting system for the water to stay off the driveway, stay along the side of the driveway, work its way down, and then work its way down here into the moat, or the soil collecting canal system that goes all the way around the buildings here. So we had tremendous erosion from two main paths here. I always try to drive on the grass some, but I'll have to. So this center, the crown was a little bit higher than what it is now, but it was several years ago. It was probably 8 inches higher than what it is now. And this was probably 6 inches to 8 inches lower. But as time has gone on, we keep building up soil as the grass gets mowed and the weeds grow up in this area, and the clover and all. We're just building up soil here, and instead of the water working its way off the driveway and off to the side and going into the drainage systems off to the side over there, well, now it's just working down the driveway and then making its way into this system. So we have to sculpt out all of the sod on both sides of the driveway, reestablish the crown in the driveway, allow the water to work its way down the systems where we want it to go, staying off the main roadways here. So I hope that all makes sense. Let's go around to the side over here. So this is one of the locations where a great deal of the drainage systems come into. So pond 2 is just on the other side of those yellow flowers. So those yellow flowers are irises, which have an extensive rhizome root system, and then just next to them are all spearmint, which has a finer network of root system as well. That really establishes that dam wall so well, because that's our spillway coming over and coming down right into this area here. And this is where where the nutrients from the compost or from the food forest or from the wood chips, as they work their way down, they come into this system, and we build lots of beautiful soil as a result in this system here. And this stuff here gets some bioremediation. We have the reeds, the cattails, many of the native water plants here, which absorb all those excess nutrients, and then we harvest this material for our food forests as well. So that system worked extremely well, holding against the drainage pipes from the swales up above were inadequate, and my sod management in the spillways and on the sides of the driveway was inadequate. So as we get into this area here, so this is the hugelkultur terrace garden up above here, the future one, not quite there yet. The water level was above this area here, and this is an area that I created a little dip in the driveway area here, so it would just, any excess water or nutrients that would come from the gardens, the kitchen gardens up in this area, could work its way right down and into the system. And you could see by the algae that's on the surface, those nutrients that go into here, either from the wood chips and compost that's been done up above into this hugelkultur system, those nutrients come in here, the algae forms, and again, building soil before it goes into the bioremediation system. But because of my soil management at the end was inadequate, and I'll show you that in just a moment, the water level raised above the desired level that I wanted it at, so the water started working its way, and it worked its way down through here along the strawberry beds over here on the other side of the garlic. Fortunately, all of these beds are raised beds. All of the garden beds are raised beds, with the exception of this area here. So this was all underwater, and the water worked its way. Again, the rhizomes did their part at holding back the soil, but the water shot out around the other side of the statue there and worked its way down the drain system. Now this was all beautiful system in here, but the water exceeded this whole level here, and you can see I pulled out some of the cattails, some of the reed plants. Here I've got number 2 stone is a good solid base because I drive through this area to get up and get it into the second food forest and do the work up there to get over into the new forest areas I'm building over here by pond 3, and to get up into the hugelkultur terrace. So this is really important to have a good solid base here. But what had happened is all the reed plants and the cattails, everything had built up in here. And you'll see if I show any of the footage of me fixing things, the snappers were right in here too, and one of them made their way back into the system. This is turtle time. Right now all the turtles are laying their eggs. And so I had to open up this whole area here because the sod, the grasses and the reeds and the cattails in this area here had grown so much that although for all the normal rains it was great filtration, it would capture all the small sediment before going into the canal system, but when we had a large volume of rain all at one time, the higher volume of water was hindered by this, and it made its way down over the driveway area, and you could see it eroded here. The smaller particulate matter, the sand, came into this area. The silt and clay made their ways into the canal system, and this whole area was right up over the blocks here. So, and that drainage pipe exceeded the capacity of that drainage pipe, and the water just flowed right across the property here. I don't want to disturb the ducks there. This stream was shooting right out here full tilt. There was a lower bridge down in there. It's underneath the other bridge over here right now. It just floated away. And this pond just looked like a big mud puddle because the water level was right up here to the blocks. This whole patio was underwater. the fragrance right now from the black locust flowers in bloom. Oh my goodness, they're just amazing. And you might be able to see how some of the wood chips here have all been disturbed, but the water just shot right down across here. Fortunately, and this is an area I've been working in as well, I've got lots of new trees that I've been getting established here in the food forest, but as you can see, I always try to put the trees up on mounds so that their root crown stays nice and happy. Here's some of the new trees that I just got started. And this is one of the swale systems, drainage swale systems, soil collecting swale systems that I showed in previous videos where I was working on that side of it. That's the almond forest over in here. And recently I've been working on this area, but the water just shot right down in here, eroded more of the soil. But that's okay because we keep reharvesting any eroded material in these soil collecting canal systems. So I actually had to open up a little bit of this area here. This spillway here, I purposely remain a little bit high because I want to retain as much water in pond 5 here as possible, because this is the one that leaks and we have challenges and that I'm always trying to patch during the summer and fall months. So I think what I'll do now is show you some of the footage. Hopefully this footage is going to turn out okay. Show you some of the footage from this helmet cam that I had on, and of the actual rainfall events. So if you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. I really appreciate that, and give us a thumbs up and share this video if you think it's of value. There's lots to learn from these events, and if it's safe enough, I always recommend getting out there and really taking a good close look at the systems and try to analyze what you could do a little bit differently in the future to mitigate such extreme events, the ramifications of such extreme events. Well, thanks so much for watching, folks, and have a great day. Bye-bye now. Really good idea having permanent raised beds. Oh my goodness. The driveways, everything. We got lots of erosion going on around here. Water is just racing through the systems. So all the swales and the ponds up above are way overflowed. So now our drainage systems, spillways, everything's overflowed here. This is amazing. I have to get on the excavator here and build up this system here so I don't lose the soil collecting canal system. But everything's exceeding the design capacity. But these are the times to get out here and really take a good close look. Holy mackerel. The driveway is completely overwhelmed. The 12-inch underground drainage pipes are all exceeded. Had over 4 inches of rain in 3 hours so far. And I thought I'd grab the camera. Now we haven't had water come down this way in a couple of years since I put in the other swale system. But everything out back is taking the cumulative effect of all of these water capacities exceeding, going right over the tops of the walls here. "16-inch pipe, way overflowing. Or maybe that's a 14. We're almost at the breaching over here. You probably can't hear it, but the bullfrogs are having an okay day out here. Thank God. We're almost to the patio level here. This really is amazing. We got a little more work to do out here to control when we have these severe floods. To make sure we don't lose trees and all. Let's see how this spillway is down here. I just got done working on some of this system here to make it so that we can have more easy drainage here from these systems in the event of a flood. It seems to be working, going down into this spillway. And at this point, it's still not exceeding this drainage swale, but it looks like there's a small spot down here I'll have to repair. This was an area I had built up recently. Thank goodness the rain has let up some. Yeah, right next to the split oaks down here. Okay, that's just coming from the surface of it. That's okay. There's the almond part of the food forest, all the almond trees. That's looking okay. But upstream, so all of our downstream areas seem to be holding up really well. The first food forest looks really good. A lot of the berry producing bushes and some of the trees are really pressed down quite a bit with all this rain level. But there's adequate drainage given the gravel base so that their root crowns won't get saturated much more than a 24-hour period. Alright. All of those trees look like they're going to be in good shape. This spillway here is right at max. We have a secondary spillway over here in case we exceed this one. And yes, we have exceeded this one, so it is going over the surface of this. So I may want to modify that primary spillway a little bit wider so that it can handle these extreme weather events. It's been over a decade since we got this much rain in June. Easily over a decade, almost 2 decades, I think. Let's go down to our spillway we put in here. I modified this a little bit recently. There's the boys. Okay. System seems to be working pretty well. So this is the spot where the high tunnel will go, and that's where some of the living fence is right there. So that's all good, and this system's handling it quite well. And this week I extended some of this system up above here, and it's handling it just great. It's good. But I have more work to extend it so that the whole front area can handle all of the excess. So here's where I ended this week. I have a lot more to do up in this area here, so I can take these additional spillways. So this right here is an overflow system right here, and that's going. So I've got to work on these overflow systems to make a really smooth drainage system. But the driveway's getting eroded here with the spillway subterranean systems being overwhelmed. So we've got quite a bit of erosion here in the driveway. Yeah, it's from that one main system up there, so I gotta dig that one out. I should have known better. Wow, this really eroded. So unfortunately, I put a 4-inch overflow drain for this swale, and that is way under designed. And up here I put another 4, or yeah, this is terrible. Wow. Well, I better get on the excavator here and at least redirect it so it's not going down the middle of the driveway, going down along this swale system right here. Wow. All 3 of these swales, their overflows have been exceeded. And that's just a 4-inch pipe. Those 2 there are just 4-inch pipes. I need at least 12-inch pipes for each of these. And this one's working just fine, but they're just exceeding what the capacity is down below. Okay. Time to get on Bumblebee. Man, there's so much erosion here. First, let's open up this little path here. so much sediment, and then the sod builds up in these circumstances. Seems like every year I got to open this up. It builds so much. Want to open this up just a tiny bit, make it wider, but all these reeds and everything's been there goes a snapper down there. All right, so we got most of that going down that way. Let's open it up a little bit more. Okay, we at least got more water running down into the proper system here. My goodness. Now, a little too much right there. less water going down those ways. Ooh-wee. Oh, Christ. So much for this decent driveway here. Well, the bridges are floating around. Jesus. And the water's going over the patio into the first food forest, so I got to see what I can do about that. Yep. Oh Lord. Yeah, we're a few inches over the patio level now. It's amazing how many gallons of water you can get in a short period of time. Here, I'm going to turn off the camera since I'm outside. I'm going to go see how well that pipe... Well, that pipe looks like it's actually running pretty well right now. Nice jet stream coming out. That's good. Yeah. That right there is a nice jet stream coming out of this pipe. So that's good. Wow. Another stressful day, by golly. The system's still holding. Those cutaways are working fine. This can wait another 20 years before we get another one like this again, as far as I'm concerned.